MMA Oddsbreaker today, of course, we have Cookie Monster Carla Esparza getting ready to fight Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I can't ever say her name right. Can you actually say? Can you actually say your opponent's name?
No, but I've tried. I've tried Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Yeah, Jędrzejczyk. Jędrzejczyk.
Jędrzejczyk.
That's the closest. That's the closest one. It's I know she's your next opponent, but is she really the next one in line? Like, is there, in the men's division, a lot of people sell themselves and they get jumped up quite a bit. Has that happened for this fight, or is she number one contender?
I think she's number one contender because I think a lot of people thought that Claudia was the number one contender, and she went out there and beat her. A lot of people expected Claudia to go on tough and win the whole thing. So, if you beat someone who's supposed to be the best or one of the top, then you kind of take their slot.
What's your favorite cookie?
Chocolate chip, but I haven't had cookies in a while. It's been like over a month, so I'm hurting.
I saw your post yesterday when I was getting back into Vegas that you had mentioned that. I know you really do love cookies, but you're also super dedicated to your diet, making sure you make weight easily. And is it really that hard to give up cookies for a training camp?
Yeah, I love my food. Like it's not like a facade, I legitimately love like eating delicious food and delicious cookies. But you know what? When I come up with like numbers like this, when I wake up and I haven't even worked out one time yet, I'm like 2 pounds over, haven't worked out one time in, since I've been here on Tuesday, so it's things like that that make it worth it. And I'm going to feel good and not have that strain of cutting weight.
Are you always this light before, or is this a rarity for you this one time?
Well, the cleaner I eat, the lighter I am. And honestly, like I've been eating pretty clean, but I could even eat cleaner. Like I could legit go down to 105 if I really wanted to. But I don't feel like people have a strength advantage on me. I don't feel like I'm successful at this weight. So I just want to feel good and not have to cut all that weight.
Well, that actually raises another one of my questions. Obviously, you and Felice Herrig are really close friends. You're the champ. She becomes the number one contender. You guys have to fight. You will fight if you two have to fight, correct?
That's like the last thing we want. We're obviously super close. She's, my best friend, so it's the last thing we want. But, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Well, I guess my question is,
I wouldn't.
If you had a choice to fight Felice or drop down to 105, what would the choice be? And mind you, I'm talking about right now, before you have a title fight. This is the thought process you're going through. In 6 months from now, when it actually comes to fruition, it could be a different answer. But right now, what's your first guess? Would you drop down or would you fight?
If the UFC had a 105 division and it came down to me fighting Felice, I'd probably leave. I'd probably suck it up, stop eating crap, and make the move.
So it's you're still in a position where your friendship and loyalties to your friends are much more important than the fight game. And it seems to me that fighters, whether they're title holders or they're just teammates on a team, that they tend to fight longer when they have that loyalty to their friendship. They end up being in the game a lot longer because it goes into a lot of other factors that happen. Are there any other girls let me rephrase that. Are there any other women in the division that you won't fight because they're friends, or is Felice the only one?
Felice is the only one. She's the only one who I'd really like go out of my way for and, do something like that for. Just, we're so close. I have people that I'm close to. Probably the person I'm closest to in the division besides her is Jessica, and that fight already happened on the show. So, it is what it is.
All right, well, let's shift gears and talk to Joanna, because this one is an interesting matchup for me. Your amazing wrestling power versus her amazing Muay Thai. And the more I look at this fight, the more it becomes a classic matchup for me. It's not the new age matchup of these great fighters versus the other great fighters, and both guys happen to be experts in one area. It really is a classic matchup for me. I have my opinion how this thing is going to break down. How do you see this fight breaking down?
I feel like for the majority of the time, things happen. People get knocked out. People, impose really good, like, sprawl and brawl game plan or this or that. But, in reality, I feel like my wrestling's just, she's never fought someone like me. I feel like I will be able to impose my will.
I've said this in other. I got interviewed about your fight and about other fights, obviously on the card, and I've stuck to it since from the very beginning when this thing got announced. For you, this is going to be on paper, and for me, sitting at home on the couch, watching it happen, it's going to be a very easy victory for you. It's going to be very easy for you to take her down and hold her down. But unfortunately, because the way you have to beat her up, it's going to be a boring victory because you're going to have to hold her down. And the more you try to strike her, the more she's going to maneuver, and the more you're going to have to control her. And it's going to be one of those things, unless you understand wrestling like I do and my family does, it's going to be like, oh, Carla's just laying and praying, she's holding her down, because they don't realize the little nuances, little game changes that you have to do. Does that worry you sometimes that you actually have to beat somebody a decisive way that doesn't make the fans very happy? Does that kind of worry you sometimes about how they look at you as a champ?
It does. I feel like being a wrestler, I already kind of had that label on me that, oh, she's boring, oh, she's a lay and pray. But I think anyone who's actually followed my career at all and seen my fights knows that I have a nonstop pace, that I'm not going to go down there and lay on someone. I'm going to go out there and try and finish someone. I have quick submissions. I think I have like five or six submissions. I think I have 3 or 4, TKOs on the ground. So, I'm active. I'm actively trying to beat someone up, and I think it's always a label that's going to follow me. I think, but hopefully the more I keep winning and doing it in an exciting fashion, hopefully I kind of take that stigma off. Wrestlers equals boring.
Is that the reason why you think the UFC really wasn't promoting your fight as big as they could have with some other fights in your weight class that aren't title fights?
I try not to think too deeply into why this or why that. There could be a multitude of reasons, but in reality, they're going to do what they're going to do, and I can't control that. And I feel like there's been a lot more promotion now. Like they've been focusing like on the fight and pushing it more, and so I'm happy with the way things are going. But with that Rose fight, she was just I feel like they did see the next Ronda Rousey in her as someone who's finishing all these fights and doing so well.
Is it obviously you mentioned Ronda? Is it a goal of not just yourself, but do you feel like it's a goal of other MMA women to match Ronda Rousey and be like kind of be her?
In a lot of ways, I mean, who doesn't have a goal of wanting to go out there and dominate their opponents like that? But personality-wise, Ronda's, doing Swimsuit Illustrated or whatever. She's doing all these big magazines and doing all these things. So, yeah, I think a lot of people would love that and think it's a part of it and stuff, for sure.
Carl, I know you got stuff you got to do, so I'll finish our interview with this, that I know if I had to have my daughter have a role model, it's right now a split between you and Ronda, and it won't be long before a lot of the girls looking up into this sport to get started are going to go, I can either be Carla or I can be Ronda, and because you come to the sport as 2 great champions, but you come at it 2 different ways. So pretty soon you'll be the people that everyone's going to be asking about. Well, should I be like Carla or should I be like Ronda? And that's what's going to happen here pretty quick for you.
That's awesome. Big compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, always. Carl, have a great time this weekend. Enjoy Dallas. Thanks to Brian and Sucker Punch for getting you on. I know you've got such a busy schedule this week, and like you said, I'm sorry, I know it's the last question, but you said you haven't worked out since you got there on Tuesday. Is it because your media schedule is so heavy, or just because you don't need to work out?
A combination of both. I usually just try to like relax, and not, do too much if I don't have to. I'd want my body to be as fresh as possible. I kind of don't even have to. I'm probably going to go on a run tonight just to so I can eat and be comfortable. But yeah, I think it's just a combination. Okay. If I don't have to, I won't.
Okay. All right. I like your attitude. I thought maybe you were getting so busy. Go ahead.
I mean, putting your body through a rough camp is rough on the body, and your body's dead tired and all that. So, I think if I can avoid it, I will.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have the same theory when I was still fighting. So, okay, beautiful. Thanks, Carl. I really appreciate it, man. Have a great time. And good luck on Saturday night. I can't wait to see your fight.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.